my friends like a blessing on my sins. Smile in the pen, smiling faces will have you. Catching cases, flying down the freeway on high speed chases. I gotta be true to this game of rap. It's either that's a weed, speed, heroin, or crack. It's like that. Lawyers, paperwork, and A&R, fancy cars. Ghetto superstars, don't forget who you are. I still represent those buried in the soil. Uncle Sam is Gaddis, then drink off the foil. Ashes to ashes and back to dust. And before I go, ooh, believe I'm a bust. Ashes to ashes and back to dust. And before I go, ooh, believe I'm a bust. Who don't wear the shadow to the quack? It's the M-A-D-O-N-E going psycho. Who don't wear the shadow to the quack? It's the M-A-D-O-N-E going psycho. I must confess, my life is a mess. And if there's a God up in heaven, does he hate me cause I don't feel blessed? Like saying my head from San Diego to New York. Call all your soldiers cause it's streaming home court. Welcome to the blood sport, the killing feels a rap. Now how will you react when leaving stains across the map? Cause the road that I'm on is too bumpy. And every time I see a hooter I get jumpy. So I keep my shit on hit and make sure they play it loud. Before I'm left laying on my back, staring at the clouds. Or blazing the dirt on my way to meet my maker. Cause bottles catch the Vegas when I'm trying to make my paper. Ashes to ashes and back to dust. And before I go, ooh, believe I'm a bust. Ashes to ashes and back to dust. And before I go, ooh, believe I'm a bust. Uno nueve cero to the quack. It's the M-A-D-O-N-E going psycho. Uno nueve cero to the quack. It's the M-A-D-O-N-E going psycho.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Ellen Carrington Show. I know I wasn't going to have another show until December the 4th, but I was able to get a guest for today. A man I'm happy to call a longtime friend and colleague and hosts his own show right here on Spreaker Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been standing by patiently, and I am now happy to present the host of the Mike Siciliano Show, Mike himself. Thanks for joining us today, Mike.
Nice to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, first of all, before we get started, tell the folks out there who aren't familiar with your show what it's about and what you do.
What I do from time to time, there's no set schedule, there's no real format to it. What I do from time to time is when something happens in the world of professional wrestling, an area that I follow pretty solidly on a week-to-week basis, when something happens that gets my dander up, or something happens that I think is necessary to talk about, or I see social media going ballistic over a topic here and there, then I'll get on the radio, I'll pop up a podcast, and I'll sit and discuss it. Hypothetically speaking, when Dixie Carter was dumb enough to bring Pac-Man Jones back to Impact Wrestling, I got on the air and ripped Dixie Carter a new one. I have done podcasts prior and after pay-per-views. I did starting back from Hell in a Cell. I'm going to do one maybe today, maybe tomorrow, previewing Survivor Series, and that's pretty much the deal. I call it this. It's just the fan's perspective when the urge comes through and when I got something to say. Sad thing is, I have a lot more to say than probably people want to hear, but hey, it's my opinion. I'm a loudmouth, and I don't mind sharing.
That's the fun of free speech in this country. Tell us, we probably got some fans listening out there. Tell us what you think of the latest wrestling product in general.
Speaking from the Nationals, I don't hate the product. Do I have my issues with the product? Of course. There are storylines that I find to be rather tedious or boring. There are storylines that I think are really almost dumb. I mean, we could sit here and talk about, as I said before, about Impact bringing Pac-Man Jones and that ridiculous idea of trying to increase their viewership by bringing in these non-sport athletes. And then we can turn around and talk about how they did a genuine copy of WWE's idea back from 2011 when CM Punk walked out of the company with the WWE Championship. We can talk about TNA doing the same thing. However, TNA is taking it one step further to a level that I find to be absolutely incredible, having AJ Styles defend the World Heavyweight Championship all over the world. So there are parts of it that I question. There are parts of it that I enjoy tremendously. I mean, no, there's never going to be a perfect product. I mean, if we got perfect product, we get maybe the Monday Night Wars again. We know what happened when part 2 of the Monday Night Wars tried to happen. We know it's never going to happen again. I doubt you're going to see a boom period in wrestling anytime soon. But overall, the product is entertaining, and that's the bottom line. And that's the one thing that I think 99% of social media never can understand, is that the product overall is entertaining. Everybody expects the smallest, minute details to go the way they want it to, and it's never going to happen that way. Sit back and look at the whole picture. The whole picture is entertaining. If it's not, change the channel.
Oh, exactly. There's a lot about that I don't like either. I've mentioned on past shows. I've listened to some of your shows lately, and let me tell you, you really do let it rip. You said the last one took about, 4 or 5 takes to get on the air?
Yeah, I had a couple of real-life blocks, real-life problems that I had to take care of. Then one time I had a technical issue, and then the last one, I think before I got it done, I just ran out of space.
Yeah, that happens when Spreaker gives us enough.
I wanted to keep going. I just ran out of time.
That's what happens when Spreaker gives us limited space, but what can you do?
Yes, ma'am.
And you and I go way back. My God, what's it, at least 10 years?
Just about.
Maybe top? It's been a long time.
Back I think when we first were working for WrestleView.com.
Yeah, because you were either recapping one of the shows or doing a column, maybe both.
I did a little bit of both for that site. That's the site where I first started writing about wrestling back in the day. I got a real passion for it. I enjoyed it a lot, but I guess the best way I could say it is my passion got a little too much for some of the higher ups at that site and the other sites that I worked with. The intensity of my writing got a little too big for their britches, and that's kind of why I got out of writing overall.
So you've just quit writing and do podcasts?
Not quit, just backed off. I mean, I have looked around to see about getting back into writing again. I will never quit writing. If the opportunity presents itself, I'll bang out a column in 5 minutes flat. It's just a matter of finding the right fit. Sadly, I learned through experience that most of the sites that are being run aren't really the right fit. You know, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and point fingers. I'm not going to sit here and name names. You know, the opportunities I had, they seemed to be perfect at the time, but over not a very long period of time, there was some differences of opinions. And as I said before, I tend to spew my opinion. I tend to go at 190 miles an hour, and if they don't like it, which most of them didn't, we clash and part ways. So be it. So that's why I went on my own with this project and see how far it goes with it. I'm stunned so far at the reaction to it. I can't be happier about it.
Yeah, you've gotten. I've noticed the shows. You've gotten quite a good listenership. I can throw that out there.
Yeah, I can't believe it either. I'm stunned about it, and it keeps me rolling with it. You know, the more listeners I get, the more I'm going to keep rolling out the opinions. I don't know why they want to hear what I have to say, but so be it. If they want to hear it, I certainly don't mind saying it.
Well, that just goes back to what you said a few minutes ago. A lot of sites don't really adjust to the in-your-face columns and opinions and that type of thing. They kind of want the watered-down version. Let's be nice, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. It's because of the terms of service of their sites, or they're just not comfortable or whatever. But it's always nice to let go and have a good rant once in a while.
Hey, I'm not one of those guys that'll turn around and put something on paper that's laden with words that shouldn't be, that the children shouldn't read or something like that. I won't turn around and I won't try and toe a line. I'm going to say what I feel. I'm going to say what I think. If you like it, great. If you don't, well, turn the channel, close the page, or just get out of my way, because there's no reason. If I'm going to turn around and try and toast some line to get a guest or get a scoop or get an idea or whatever the case may be from somebody with a little more influence, you know what? That's not what I want to do. Never has been, never will be.
Okay, yeah, that's the way to go. Okay, here's a good one, and I like to ask guests this about their interest when they come on the show. The first wrestling show you saw and how you got into it.
The first wrestling show I saw, that was almost, geez, I don't even remember precisely how long. It was back in the 80s when I was a lot younger and a lot lighter.
A few years ago.
Yeah, it was back in the 80s. I went to a WWF show at the time, Nassau Coliseum. I can't tell you any specifics about it except two things. I had the opportunity to see Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik compete as a tag team, and I believe one of the opponents in that match was Corporal Kirshner. That shows you how far back it was.
Wow.
At the time, I didn't follow wrestling to the extent that I do now. At the time, it was with my parents, and like I said, at the time I was a kid. You know, if we're going to talk about when I started following it more specific, more in depth, it was, wow, what year was it? I went to one indie show, I think it was for USA Pro Wrestling. It was here on Long Island. I don't remember the year. I think it was maybe 2004, 2005. And the best of, at that show, Al Snow was there, Steve Carino was there. Who else was there? At that show, there was I don't remember, there were two highlights of that show I'll mention. One was, I had the chance to see, not talk to, but to see the Sandman. And Sandman was signed an autograph at the time. And when I saw him, I swear, I'm not a small guy. I'm 6'4", and I'm over 3 bills. I'm not a small guy. When I saw the Sandman sitting there writing, signing autographs, I was so freaking intimidated, I ran away. Literally just got up and walked as quick as I could in the opposite direction. That's how intimidated I was by the sight of this guy. The other highlight of it was the sickest bump I have ever heard in my life when one of the tag team, the Outcast Killers, his name was Diablo Santiago, did a plancha over the top rope, and I don't remember who the opponent was, but they missed catching him, and the thud just echoed throughout the building. My friend and I at the time, we literally couldn't stay. That's how sickened we were by the sound of body hitting concrete. We ended up leaving and just totally skipping the last match of the show because we were that shaken up at the sound of that bump. I still hear it at times. I'm hearing it right now, sitting here talking about it.
Ooh, I'm actually sitting here shuddering. I can almost imagine you actually saying that. So, getting back to, you say you ran away from Sandman. Are there any wrestling personalities you actually met?
Well, I've met quite a few. I went through a period where I went to autograph signings almost every single month. I've met a myriad of WWE guys, from Shelton Benjamin to Christy Hemme, from Randy Orton to John Cena on more than one occasion. There's one aspect of it with John Cena that I'll mention that is really kind of fun. We met Cena, like I said, on multiple occasions, and one time when we were there, we were first in line because of reasons that are a little personal. I won't get into it. But when we came up to the table, Cena looks at us and blurts out, "Every time I come to this town, these guys are always the first ones online." Ever since that day, I've been a Cena fan, no matter what the hell has happened with his character. And I'll be a Cena fan pretty much for the rest of my life.
And he got so much crap from the IWC.
Well, I won't even. If you want to go, we will run out of time if you get me started on that scenario.
Yeah.
I swear to God, we will run out of time.
Yeah, I think I've more read about it anyway. Why are these guys giving this guy so much crap? Now, come on, it's a TV show, people. Change the channel if you don't like it.
But quickly to finish up what you were asking about meeting of the talents. Most recent one I met was at a Dragon Gate USA show. I met, and I'm going to mess up his name again. I met the talent Uha Nation.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you something right now about that guy. That guy is as strong as Dynamite Kid and as quick and as agile as Jumpin' Jim Brunzell. I have no idea why this guy has not gotten more national attention. It's unreal how talented that guy is.
Wow. And they got a lot of talented people in the independents. Why aren't these guys in the limelight? They're fantastic. I could go down a whole list, but like I said, we'll run out of time.
There are guys that I have had the pleasure of seeing. I have been to numerous Ring of Honor shows. I've been to a few Dragon Gate USA shows. There are guys that I have seen in small arenas, in small buildings, up close and personal that I cannot get enough of. I've had the privilege of seeing guys like AJ Styles live, Christopher Daniels, Colt Cabana. I saw Daniel Bryan before he became Daniel Bryan. I was in the building for Daniel Bryan's last match in Ring of Honor. I was in the building when Daniel Bryan won the ROH World title.
Wow.
I was in the building when Daniel Bryan lost the ROH World title. Why don't some of these independent guys get the respect they deserve? I don't have a clue. I sat and went ballistic about this in my podcast recently because I had read that some of WWE's top brass was balking at signing the American Wolves to a contract, which set me off because I saw the American Wolves compete in a ladder match in Ring of Honor that to this day I will challenge anybody to tell me of any other match that they would see, where they would see a talent be as tough as Eddie Edwards was during that contest, competing in that extent of a ladder war with a cast from his wrist to his armpit.
Ooh.
Okay, he had broken his arm at the hands of Kevin Steen the night before. Had the cast, the arm was immobile, bent in plaster from his wrist to his armpit, and he took bumps that made me cringe. That is a match I'll never forget, and why Triple H or anybody in WWE aren't looking hard at guys like the American Wolves and putting the dotted line, signing them on the dotted line is beyond me. Because I think the Wolves would be a tremendous tag team in the majors. I think they could possibly be a long-term major tag team in WWE or TNA. I mean, if guys like Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, Antonio Cesaro, who are similar yet different, can make it in the majors, I don't understand why they balk at guys like the American Wolves. And as you said, I could do this with 100 names, and we'd have legit reasons, I think, for all of them. So it boggles the mind, some of the talents that aren't getting the notoriety they deserve.
Yeah, I can't figure that out either. I mean, nothing else. Send them to Florida for a little while and see how they go over there.
Well, we'll start talking about that. We'll bring up the Chris Hero situation, and I think that, again, we'll start talking for another 20 minutes.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I read his statement right after they released him. I'm like, okay, well, maybe Florida wasn't. Maybe they.
Well, Chris Hero, from what I was told, from what I've read, what I've seen, is his own. It's kind of like what we had talked about a few minutes ago. He doesn't toe a company line. He'll say what he thinks, no matter what the cost, and perhaps WWE just didn't want to hear what Chris Hero had to say, and that's why they ended up giving him his walking papers. But according to him, he said it was done on a mutual basis, that it was done in good standing. And if I'm WWE, I look at Chris Hero again. I look at what Chris Hero did with Antonio Cesaro as a tag team. And if they're talking about so much making 2014 the year of tag teams, there's no reason on the planet you could tell me that the Kings of Wrestling would not be a formidable tag team in a WWE environment.
Mm-hmm. So here's something we can toss out here real quick. We got some time left. Best era, I should say. Attitude era or PG?
Both. There are parts of both eras that I enjoy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I want to see the Attitude Era come back or I want to see the PG era come back. It's not about an era. It's not about a time frame. It's not about the basis of a myriad of shows. It's about what the script writers come up with. It's about what the talents perform in the ring, and it's about what you see from week to week to week. You know, you might end up seeing 6 weeks of programming that you find absolutely entertaining, and yet you come up to 10 or 12 fans in whatever chat room or social media website will turn around and say, "Well, this time frame sucks, and I wanted to go back to the Attitude Era or this, that, or the other thing." You're never going to go back to something that you can't imitate. What's happened has happened. So be it. Move forward. Stop living in the past. Stop bringing in all these legends and having them try to compete. Hulk Hogan, get the hell out of my ring and stay the hell off television. Let the time go forward. Stop living in the past. There is no great era in wrestling. What happens next? That could be the next great era in wrestling. And that's where the fans, I think, should be focused on.
Right, because we don't know what's going to happen in the next decade. Hey, I want WCW back too, but you know what? It's not going to happen.
That's a topic for a whole nother show, Lori. I'd like to hear what your reasoning is behind that one.
Yeah, well, I kind of found it entertaining back in the day myself. You know, especially when they focused on the smaller guys.
Having a cruiserweight division would be an absolute essential. I have no idea why. I agree. I enjoyed the cruiserweights in WCW. I have no idea why WWE thinks these, quote, larger-than-life competitors are ratings grabbers. I will challenge anyone to tell me that they would not enjoy, hypothetically speaking, let's use current talents right now, a Sami Zayn versus a Adrian Neville in a WWE ring rather than a Big Show versus Randy Orton.
There we go.
I'll tell you right now, from my perspective, I want to see Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville, and I want to see that today. Book it, get it up here, let's go. Randy Orton, Big Show, sure, it's a talented story, it's a talented match, they'll put on a good show, but I like the more technical aspects. Okay, I'm always one for guys to turn around and hit each other as hard as they can, and the last one standing wins. But I also like the technical aspect, and somewhere in between is where WWE thinks is the ratings grabber. And I got news for you, WWE, it's not.
Okay, one more thing we can cover before time comes up. Wind down today. Survivor Series coming up this Sunday. What's the best one you've seen, if you've seen any of them, of course?
The best past Survivor Series?
Sure.
Wow. With my memory right now, that's a tough one to answer. You know, the best match that I can't give you a straight card, but the one match that I keep remembering from Survivor Series was the 5-on-5 that involved DX, I think the Hardys, and CM Punk, where they pitched that shutout. I don't remember who their opponents were at the time, but that match as a whole, I truly did enjoy from start to finish. It's hard for me to turn around without looking at the results going right off the top of my head. It's hard for me to answer that type of a question, but if I'm going to single anything out, I would go there and perhaps go forward from there. But I know time is of the essence right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, quick prediction for this Sunday Survivor Series. What do you think?
Well, obviously, I think the championships will not change hands. I just read that Big E is going to defend against Curtis Axel at the pay-per-view, which I also think will be a title defense for Big E. Match of the night by a landslide is going to be the Wyatts and Punk and Bryan. I think that match has... I have not been more jacked up for a match in a long time on pay-per-view than I am for the Wyatts and Punk and Bryan. And the other thing that I'll mention, the other thing about Survivor Series would be I'm very anxious to see the Shield and the Real Americans compete in that traditional 5-on-5. I know they're teasing about having the Shield break up, but in my opinion, the Shield is still as good as they were a year ago, if not better. I think they should keep them together. I think that they could still make a lot of impact. But overall, in one sentence, my match of the night by a landslide is Punk and Bryan versus the Wyatts. But I'm interested overall. I can't wait to see what's going on. I don't think you're going to see any major surprises. I think that partner to be named later is Rey Mysterio. It's either Mysterio or Christian. One or the other. I don't think there's anybody else big time coming back. I don't think Henry's ready. I could keep going, but I think we're running low on time.
Yeah, we are. Okay, I'd like to thank you for dropping in today. I know it's been a long process of getting you on here, but I appreciate your time. I'm sure the others who listened today did too.
I appreciate the opportunity. I'm sorry it took so long, but I'd love to come back at any time if you'd like to have me.
Sure, no problem. We'll keep you in mind for the next year. Unfortunately, we are running out of time today. Next week, of course, being Thanksgiving week. No show, but we will be returning on December the 4th when the Lost and Found host Daniel Whistler will be scheduled to join me. And on a quick note before I leave today, I'll be appearing on tomorrow's edition of the Lost and Found. I invite all of you to join me in and see what we have to chat about. Meanwhile, everyone have a safe and blessed Thanksgiving, and for our Jewish friends, Happy Hanukkah. Take care, and we will see you on December the 4th.